Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 6th, and this is your distance learning lesson for today. We are on letter G of the countdown, and it's Green Day. Okay, are you wearing green? So let's look at reading for today. Why don't we get Raz Kids assignment today and get it done? All you have to do is read one story, take one quiz, easy as pie, right guys? So why don't we get that done today? For math today, Chapter 14, Lesson 9, Quadrilaterals. Okay, so let's take a look. What approach would you use to classify quadrilaterals? Well, don't you suppose we should know what a quadrilateral is first? It's any shape that has four sides and four angles. Need to be straight lines that make up, and it needs to be closed, all right? So looking at this shape that you see in front of you, let's look at the length of the sides. Are they all the same or are they different? Well, as I look at this, I see that these two sides, this one and this one, are the same, and the bottom two are the same. Bottom and the top, excuse me. So we need to look at side length. That's one thing. Then number two, how are the opposite sides parallel? Yes, they are. Look at this. This side here is parallel to this side. Remember, two lines that never meet. And the top and the bottom are parallel, aren't they? Another thing we need to look at is does the shape have right angles? And that little square in the corner tells you, yes, this particular shape all has right angles. So looking at the length, looking at the parallel sides, and looking at the angles are all attributes or qualities that help us identify quadrilaterals. So page 926 in your math book has this all labeled out for you. I want you to use this page to help you with your homework today because it explains exactly what each shape is. Looking at the top one, a parallelogram has opposite sides that are equal, okay, and parallel. In addition, opposite angles are the same size. So if I look at this angle and this angle, they're opposite and they're the same. These two are the same as well. A rectangle is like a parallelogram in that it has opposite sides that are parallel again and the same length, but this time the thing that makes it different is all four angles are right angles. Continuing to the next shape, it's called a rhombus. A rhombus has very specific attribute in that all the sides are equal. Every side is measured with the same length. They also have to have opposite sides that are parallel, okay? And a square is just like a rhombus. All sides are equal, they are parallel, but the thing that makes it different, can you see it? All the corners, all the angles are right angles. And the last quadrilateral that we are going to work with is called a trapezoid. And the thing that makes that different from all the others is that it only has one pair of parallel sides. These other two, they are not parallel. They will eventually meet. So use this page as we're working on the lesson and as you do your homework today. So let's take a look at this table. It says it has four different shapes. Each shape is described by a list of quadrilaterals, and we have to determine if those names that they give them, if it's true or false, okay? So looking at this first shape, is it a rhombus? Rhombus, all sides are the same. and the opposite sides are parallel. That's true, right? And how about a parallelogram? The definition of parallelogram is that the opposite sides have to be parallel, and they are. So this would definitely be true. Now let's look at the next one. Trapezoid says that only one pair of sides is parallel. Well, that's true so far, but can we call it a parallelogram also? I don't think so, because a parallelogram has to have both sets of sides parallel, and look at these are not. So this would definitely be false. Then let's look at the next shape, the blue one. Is it a rectangle? For it to be a rectangle, opposite sides have to be the same length and parallel. Well, that's true. And the corners have to be right angles. Well, that's true. A parallelogram, the meaning of that is that opposite sides are the same length and parallel. That's true, isn't it? So both of those labels would be true. Now let's look at the bottom shape. Is this a square? To be a square, the sides have to be opposite, have to be parallel, the same length. All sides have to be the same length, and it has to have right angles in the corner. True. Is it a rectangle? Yes, because for it to be a rectangle, opposite sides have to be the same. It has to have right angles, and it has to be opposite sides parallel. So that's true. Could it be a rhombus? Could it be called a rhombus? To be a rhombus, the opposite sides have to be parallel and the same length. That's true. Could it be a parallelogram also? For it to be a parallelogram, opposite sides have to be the same length and parallel. So that's true. Could it be a trapezoid? Only one side parallel? That makes it false, right? Let's move on. Go to page 925. This speed sign here represents a quadrilateral. Classify the angles formed by the quadrilateral and determine if any of the sides are parallel or perpendicular. So if I look at this, I see how many right angles. Every single one of them is a right angle. Are there any acute or obtuse? No. And now let's look at if it's parallel or perpendicular. How about the top and the what are parallel? The top and the bottom, right? The left and the right sides are parallel. Since there are 4 right angles, the sides that form each right angle are perpendicular. So we've got these and these sides and this side and these two to come in. So we've got 4 pairs of perpendicular sides. Notice that the opposite sides are also equal in length. A quadrilateral with 4 right angles, opposite sides equal in length, and opposite sides parallel is a rectangle. And that's the name of this shape. Okay, let's look at this one. The quadrilateral has opposite sides equal in length and opposite sides parallel. It also has how many equal sides? What do you think? So what do you think this is going to be? Good. 4 equal sides, and it could be a parallelogram or a rhombus. Classify the quadrilateral in as many ways as possible. So stop the video, do the problem, and then start again. All the names we could give this, it's a parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. Isn't that funny that one shape could be called so many things? Now stop the video again, do 2 through 7, and then start to correct it. As I look at number 2, the only thing we could call that is a parallelogram. And for number 3, the only thing that we could call that is a trapezoid. But number 4, it could be a rectangle and a parallelogram, okay? For number 5, we can call that a rectangle, a trapezoid for number 6, and a square for number 7. Now stop the video again, do the bottom of page 927, and then start the video, looking at that shape. This is a trapezoid because it has exactly one pair of parallel sides. There are 4 vertices, right? That's where the corners make the vertex, and that's A, B, C, and D, and it doesn't matter what order you put it in. There are 4 line segments that connect it. And again, the capital letters can be placed in any order. AB is the same as BA, and then BC, CD, and DA. You can always flip those around. Explain why the figure is not a parallelogram? Well, that's obvious, because a parallelogram needs 2 pairs of parallel sides, and this only has 1. Stop the video again, do page 928, and then start the video to correct. Okay, a quadrilateral has opposite sides, parallel, and 4 right angles. 2 sides are longer than the others. It has to be a rectangle. For number 10, you were to draw 4 lines that formed a square. For number 11, how are a square and a rhombus alike? They're alike because they have 4 equal sides, but a square has 4 right angles and a rhombus does not have any right angles. For number 12, a rhombus is a square. That's false because a rhombus doesn't have 4 right angles. A rectangle is a parallelogram. That's true, okay? And number 14, how can I classify quadrilaterals? Look at the length of their sides, the type of their angles, and whether or not the sides are parallel. So what are you doing today? You're going to do pages 929 to 930. Number 2, just to give you a heads up, has 4 answers. On page 926, or use page 926, to help you answer questions 6, 7, and 8. Please take a picture of the 2 pages and send them to me in an email, text, or on Seesaw. Just so you know, there's no more packet drop-off. So if you're just doing it in your workbook and not taking any pictures, I will never know that you did your work. So you need to send me a picture. Thank you. In your journal today, label it Wednesday, May 6th, and the topic is to write a green acrostic poem. Why don't you guys if you usually don't do your journal work, please do it today. I'd love to see it. So what's an acrostic? When you write the letters going down G, R, E, E, and N, and then you put words that start with each of the letters. So here is mine for green. Grateful for the colorful sunrise, rising above the budding trees, every morning as I sit, entering your lessons for the day, never fails to make me smile. I'm looking forward to seeing your green acrostic. Science, I'm really excited. We found some fun things for you to do. So you're going to go to this site and it's going to give you the directions to float your metal boat. The supplies that you'll need: aluminum foil, ruler, a sink filled with water, and some dish soap. Follow the directions and I think you'll have fun doing this. If you're missing some of the supplies, just try with something else to see if it'll work. And if you're interested to see why this boat does what it does, you can go to Brain Pop and search buoyancy, and they will give you the reasons for what happened to you today. Have fun, guys. Read aloud, we're continuing chapter 4 for Harry Potter. Music, listen to a song that makes you feel calm. Look around the house for things that make high and low sounds. Check Seesaw for Mrs. Zerke's posted activities. For skills for success, look in the mirror, smile. Now think about 5 things about yourself. Smile some more and say, today will be great. And did you know, besides it being Green Day, it's National Nurses Day? So take some time, if you know a nurse, and say thank you. Right now is a very scary and challenging time for nurses. And if you don't know a nurse, you might even want to email Nurse Annie at Banfield and wish her a happy day. If you have any questions, there is my email and my phone number. Give me a call. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.